the speakers, and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell, who is back from what had to be a pretty rough day, Ty. I mean, you had a little bit of we were talking before the show went live. We maybe food poisoning. I don't know. You had some buffalo chicken dip that didn't sit with you.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, it definitely. The only thing, if I'm taking a positive out of anything and looking at the positive side, at least it happened before the start of the high school season, right? Like, that's the way I look at it. Is like,
The way I look at it is
Give
at
it
least
to
it
me,
happened
man.
before the start of the show. That way
Yeah.
you weren't like at 12:30 t.m.
No. I am forever thankful for that. That is like one of my worst fears. Do not ever want that happening. But yeah, I'm just I'm hopeful now that maybe the sick bugs will stay away from me for the high school season, and that'll go off without a hitch.
Well, last year they hit me in the worst time imaginable. I remember I got sick like week 2 of football.
I think
right as fall started, it was like, "Hey, Anthony, you have RSV and you can't breathe for a week. Good job."
you had it way worse than me, but I definitely got sick during last high school season as well, because I remember missing a football game too, being home with sickness as well. So yeah, it got us both last fall. I'm hoping it stays away from me now, since it got me yesterday. But hey, I'm back on the show, back rolling again. And hey, the one thing though, Scotty was a trooper, stayed on the whole time again, like he has
Dude,
been,
like,
and it was a nice show.
I got it. Like I've told Scotty this, and I got to give him a shot. Like I am so proud of that kid. Like remember, like he started back in last August, coming on our show, just doing the trivia. Like that's that's what he wanted to do, and that's what we had him do. But he has like progressively taken more and more steps. Now he's asking questions in interviews, really good questions. He's entertaining thoughts that we have for the whole show. Like he has grown into a really awesome personality at YSN over the last year. And like yesterday when he took over the show, well, not took over the show, but took over your spot, tagged you in, became, I call him the Taysom Hill of YSN because he's always a member, so we can always be a running back. But if we need him to play quarterback every now and then, we can go to the bench for him for that. And he played quarterback yesterday, and man, he's doing such a good job. Like that just, my heart beats for that kid.
If there was
I should say he's older than me, so I should say that guy.
There's a caveat to my sickness and missing the show yesterday, is at least it happened on a Wednesday when Scotty was there, was present, and is always willing to hop on the extra mile too for Running Point and to represent YSN.
You have to let Scotty shine for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you said, Ann, he's taken the steps, bringing some great takes, great questions as well. And the two interviews you got, I knew we were talking about Coach Moots and also umpire Moots as well too.
Right.
I knew that
referee Moots
coming. But you also had the great get of getting McKenna Hogan, who signed to Notre Dame College literally moments before the show.
Oh yeah, we saw that and we messaged her immediately, and it was just like, let's get you on, let's go. And she'll be joining her teammate Caitlin Mitchell, who is also committed to Notre Dame College as well. So they'll have one more year at Fitch, and then they'll be heading off to the same college, as well as someone that we were familiar with, not a YSN athlete, but someone that we got to cover in 2 separate games and regionals. Caitlin Mazaka from Tuslaw, I was phenomenally impressed with the 2 games that I got to broadcast from her. So there's a lot of local Northeast Ohio talent going over to Cleveland Notre Dame College in a couple of years.
What were your takeaways in your firsthand conversations with Moots again, though, talking about the umpiring side of things? Because I never got a chance to really talk with him about that.
It was such like timing is awesome because like I didn't know when I scheduled him that like the Cleveland umpire referees were going to be asking for a pay raise and almost like demanding it. So referees in Northeast Ohio became kind of in the news yesterday and as a part of the YSN conversation throughout the day. So the fact that we had a referee on to actually answer that question was just one of those stroke of luck timings. I call it a God thing. If you don't kind of follow that line of thought, you can call it a coincidence, whatever you want. But that timing is like, oh, okay, cool. We have a referee on just as Northeast Ohio referees demand more money for games.
Just lucked out like that as well. I mean, and that's just how it works sometimes, right? It's a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill, this business, right? And sometimes it'll fall right into your lap.
Hard work brings luck, right? So
Yeah.
hard work puts you in opportunities that luck will find you.
Yeah.
So it's a fortuitous bounce that we got Fred Moots on when we did. His interview can be found on ysnlive.com as well as our YouTube page at YSN's YouTube. Ty, last night we did have baseball and we did kind of beat the rain. I guess you could say we got a final in. The rain came, but by the time it came, the Youngstown Blue team already put up a monster number and they decided to call it a final. Even though it wasn't a complete game as far as the numbers go. They win 14-2 and they advance right back to Laredo to go to another Palomino World Series.
And I mean, are we surprised by the skill we see on display from this Youngstown Blue team? They put it up and they left little doubt. So when you put up a score 14-2, there's already rain that's en route. You don't want to have to delay the game. They looked at the score. They said, screw it. We're done.
Like there was no delay. Like where you couldn't play it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, like yesterday's tomorrow is today.
Yeah.
Mind blown. You couldn't play it tomorrow if you were last night because you had NABF at Scene Park all day. So it's like, when are we going to play it? Let's just say, hey, it's 14-2, second inning. We're obviously getting beat. Let's just, bow out. Look at this first inning, by the way, Ty. 12 runs on 7 hits and 4 doubles in the first inning for the Youngstown Blue team.
They're so good. That team just they know how to put wins together like that. I mean, you look at the talent level that's there from all walks of schools in the area too. Like this is the who's who of baseball in the area. So like expect them to be super talented. And if this isn't proof that we have some of the best baseball in the state, I don't know what is. And now it's going to be able to be on display in the nation now as a showcase that we have some of the best baseball in the nation.
Jack Cale had a big day at the plate. So did Andrew Marcello.
Jack Cale has been on some kind of tear too. Dude, I watched that dude hit 3/4 of the cycle. He didn't get the 4th at bat to get a chance at it, but that dude's amazing.
Some other big names that stood out, their catcher, Colton Schaefer, 4 RBIs and 2 at-bats. Gavin Miller went 3 for 3 with a double and 2 runs scored. And Sundgren had 3 RBI and a double as the leadoff hitter. So they will return to Texas for the Palomino World Series to defend their last year's championship. The tournament begins Friday, July 29th, and Youngstown will play the winner of Lithuania and South Zone. We'll play the winner of Lithuania and the South Zone champion. Sorry, I misread that. We'll play the winner of Lithuania and the South Zone champion on the 30th at 11:30 a.m. And we wish the best of luck to Youngstown in the 2022 Palomino World Series. If you want a full recap and full stats on that, you can check out Richie's story for the game on ysnlive.com. He had a great call for the 2 innings that got off. Also had a great call for the first game of the day that really did get in without any rain at all. That set up that second game. So, go to ysnlive.com, check out that recap. It was really a heavy news day. We put up some content yesterday. We also learned that Blaze Exline from Salem has been awarded a OHSAA athletic scholarship to help out his first year at Ohio State. He graduated obviously this year from Salem, but now the OHSA has awarded him a scholarship. So he is a benefactor of one of those. And we put up a story about that. You can read on ysnlive.com.
Yeah, the X Factor goes to OSU, and I mean, we're looking forward to seeing what more Blaze X-Line can do, because I feel like his ceiling is still super high, and we've got a chance to see what he could do last year as a senior with Salem, and he tore it up all over the place. He was one of the best receivers, I think, in the area.
Yeah, I think Jackson Johnson and Blaze X-Line was one of the best 1-2 combos we had, passer receiver combos we had last year. And they were rivaled by a team that is their rival, with Drew DeShields throwing to Wilson, throwing to Nate Wilson. That was one of the really good connections as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this sport is just it's insane how quickly it feels like it'll humble you season to season.
So Salem's gonna have to find a way to reload that talent and try to put another bullet in the barrel per se.
We'll get a chance to try to talk to some of these coaches, because Salem's not the only team that's going through that, where you're trying to find new pieces. And like I said, it's a sport season to season that can humble you really, really quickly too. If one thing's off and that motor's not running efficiently, good teams will take advantage of that. So you just got to find the right pieces to go in the right parts. It's a tough job for coaches too, and that's why they need so much time to try to figure it out, because there's some teams that they got some holes they need to fill.
We said this before, but I think especially football last year, I should say, there were a lot of programs that had a lot of strong senior talent that like kind of made them good for 4 years, that the whole class kind of had a successful run. So now you get to find out how big the tradition was built in those 4 years, because once those seniors leave, the great programs that withstand, the ones that are consistently good, are the ones that build that tradition and keep it when those seniors leave. And we've seen programs in football do it all the time. We've had successful football programs that have lasted for over 10 years. Crestview, South Range, Garfield. It was on the tip of my tongue. Garfield has been good for a long time. Brookfield's had a consistent identity for a long time. One of those remaining factors is obviously the head coach has been there for a long time, and he builds traditions wherever they go. So we're going to see if some of these other teams like Springfield, who had a tremendous run with their senior class, can build on that tradition next year, and see how much the next class steps up.
Yeah, the big thing though, in Salem's case specifically too, you got big old Double J man in it behind center, and I mean this kid was electric last year. You want to talk about Caden just shy of 3,000 yards on 70% completion, like that is best kind of quarterback you could ask for, I think, in the area, honestly, like passing numbers wise. So, like, I think some of the best numbers you see put up in the entire area, not to mention, I think he tossed 33 touchdowns as well, 33-5, like, as a junior. So getting that back one more year where he can kind of put it all together for his senior season, seeing what he's already done seasons prior. Jackson Johnson and the Salem Quakers team, you better look out too. He'll be able to create new receivers, and as long as he can build that chemistry with these receivers, he'll find guys, because he found them last year.
ESPN just had their ESPYs, and I think if YSN had an ESPY like award show, that Salem versus West Branch game might be up there in best games.
That was incredible. So nice. We showed it twice, I think, too.
We did, yes. So nice. We showed it twice. Good turn of words there. But yeah, I think I was watching the ESPYs, and obviously it flowed to my mind, like, who would win some YSN ESPY awards or YSNPs? I don't know what we'd call them. YSNPs? I don't know.
Yeah.
But YSPs?
Yeah. There you go.
The YSPs. But we've had a lot of really good games that have happened over the year. We've had great standout performances, great not just one game performances. We've had great season performances. It'd be interesting to kind of sort out like who wins best comeback athlete. Some of these awards that ESPN gives, and I was just thinking like, who would win this reward if we gave it to YSN, athletes?
Let me talk about Jackson Johnson a little bit more, because going with those 2,900 yards he threw, he also rushed for over 1,300 yards and 20 touchdowns. He had 53 touchdowns with his legs and his arm last year. Like, that is production at the highest level, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the kind of guy that he's smart, stays in the pocket, knows when to pass, knows when to break out of the pocket, and when he's out of the pocket, he's just as dangerous as when he stays in it.
53 touchdowns in what? 12 games? 13?
Yeah.
Did they win 2 playoff games and then lose, or did
They
win
won,
one?
They won one playoff game against.
Yeah, so I was right. 12 games. So 53 touchdowns in 12 games.
That's over 4 touchdowns a game he's averaging. And I mean, you run that spread offense that Salem's able to run, it allows you to break out of that pocket and find guys downfield like Salem did a lot last year, but it also creates a lot of open running lanes too when you do break out of that pocket. And utilizing that spread offense, Jackson Johnson thrives in it.
That's why there were a couple of times last year that Salem looked dead in the water, and then all of a sudden they weren't, because that offense can get on you really quick.
Yeah. Oh, talking football gets you excited. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there.
We're almost close to 3 Fridays left. We're 4 Fridays right now, and we'll have tomorrow as the 4th. So after tomorrow, we'll be 3 Fridays away from the start of high school football as far as Fridays go.
We're excited for it, man. We're excited, as we know Friday's a madhouse, and I can't wait to get the man himself, Mike Ackelson, back in the studio.
I heard from him this morning because we had a group chat about having our YSN we're not academy. We're calling it an academy this year, not boot camp, but same idea of bringing in our new announcers that want to be a part of our family, showing them the ropes, showing them, what we're about. And we're going to have that. But he was a part of that group chat, and he had texted us like, Mike, buddy, we haven't seen you in so long.
It's nice to see those guys start coming back around too. We absolutely love it. Just wanted to check something real quick, because if I'm not mistaken, I wanted to shout this out for Salem. Yeah, that is the case. So Salem is one of the opening games on that Thursday, where they will be playing Crestview.
That's going to be a fun matchup.
That's going to be a fun one as well. I saw the date and I wanted to double check, because I know there's a select few teams that are going to be opening the season the Thursday before. So Thursday, August 18th, that's one of them. Salem versus Crestview, and it's Crestview at Salem is what I should say. So it's going to be at the home of the Quakes. They open it up to on that Thursday. So technically only 3 Thursdays left, Dan, after we get through this one, right?
After we get through today, it's like 3 Thursdays left till we start the high school football season, I guess you could say. And we're also going to bring back YSN primetime. So we'll have, as the days get closer, we'll have more details on where we'll be as far as that goes. But we had a fun time going to the host school the day before the game last year. We're gonna try to continue to do that.
We're excited for it, certainly, and we know with the upcoming season, we're always trying to do a little bit bigger and a little bit better. So we're looking to improve what we got this season as well.
Ty, as you know, there are NABF games going on as we speak. They started this morning at 10 a.m., and we already have finals in. Your first final, Creekside against the Ohio Longhorns. This is 16U. And the Longhorns lost. The Creekside won 7-3. And then in the other game that we have a final for, Avalanche beat the Bonnie Bees 3-2.
There we go, getting the Scene Park team some dubs early on in the day as well. So Creekside and Avalanche getting some wins, and we like that. Of course, we cover those teams down at Scene Park, so we're rooting for some of those Scene teams in this NABF World Series.
And as we look at the schedule real quick of what's going on today, those 2 games at 10. Actually, there were 3 games at 10 a.m. Only 2 of them have come in as finals. We have games at 12:30, 3 games at 12:30, and then 3 games at 3, 3 games at 5:30, and 3 games at 8 p.m.
Just a full day, and it doesn't stop going into this weekend either. I mean, it just kicks off the madness today.
So make sure to head over to ysnlive.com/live to check those games out. This morning, Richie Giuliano, Matt Mayer, and Bob Zaney were on the call. Richie will be on the call again at 12:30 at Scene 1. And then he'll also be on the call again at 3 o'clock on Scene 1. And that'll wrap up his day as he'll let the night crew take over after that. So
Should be it should be a great day too. All hands on deck during this day/weekend. So a lot of games that are set to get off, and a lot of talent that's going to be on display on multiple fields in the area.
A lot of talent. And let's see, over 60 games in the next 4 days on YSN for the NABF World Series.
Nuts. It's nuts. But I mean, we got it all here for you.
All here on YSN. Ty, what we talked about it with Scotty yesterday. When you're looking at these NABF, and we looked at the scores of the 14U teams, a lot of high scores. There were only, I believe, if I remember right, there were only 2 games that at least, both teams scored at least less than 6 runs, right? So every other game, at least one team scored more than 6. So the offenses were really rolling. Even in the last game, Fielder's Choice scored 9 in a 9-2 win. So are pitchers, do you think, going to have the advantage in this 16U and 18U divisions as the pitchers develop a little bit more? Or do you think it's still bats rule in this NABF World Series?
I don't know, man. I'm more of the belief that, especially as you get older, it's a game of pitching. It lives and dies with the guy on that mound, because we know how much factors go into baseball. There's however many plays between the 9 fielders, but if there's one guy that can single-handedly control the score of the game, it's the guy on the bump. So that position becomes increasingly more important, and who you have on the bump that can control their emotions, their composure during those high times, and kind of get you through, eat some innings for you. Those are the guys that are very valuable during this time.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that we see from the first 2 finals, 3 out of the 4 teams scored 3 or less runs. So maybe you're onto something. It's really early, small sample size, just 2 finals in so far, but 3-2 and 7-3. So 3 out of those 4 teams that have already locked in final scores have scored 3 or less runs.
And you're obviously going to see your big high scoring games, because just like these pitchers, these offenses are good. They're going to be able to get a hold of a pitcher on a bad day as well. But the pitching quality improves, the speed improves, the breaking stuff improves. It all improves the higher up in levels you go. So now these pitchers and these arms, they know how to get outs. They know multiple ways and how to get you out, and they can use multiple pitches to get there as well. So, I mean, the challenge level gets ticked up a little bit, and these batters, not that the batters are not improving, it's just the quality of arms that they have to face are drastically improving.
To your points, the pitchers get better, the hitters get better too. So
Yeah,
you could still see those high scoring games because the hitters develop and they know how to hit some pitches, and they know how to, finesse their swing, go the opposite way, things like that. So, it should be an even playing ground, you think?
Yeah, it absolutely will. Like you said, though, and I think it's just, if you want to talk about like runs scored, I think the average runs you'll see in a game will probably go down, I would think, for the higher levels than the lower one.
If we put over under, I'm gonna say over under average a combined, let's say 6. Let's say 6, 3, 3, 6. A combined 6 runs per game. Do you think it's under that or over that at the end of the NABF? If we took all the games, totaled them up, and then did an average.
I think it's going to be a little bit up. I really think it's going to be in like your 7 to 7.5 range, right? Like if I'm going to set a number, because I think that you're going to be your 4 to 3.
I guess when you're talking about like games combined, I mean, that would be a really low number actually to have 6 per game, because that means everyone's holding teams 3 runs or under, which is a high task.
3 to 2 to get victories then, right? So like I was thinking like 4 to 3, maybe your 5 to 3
maybe
games. 8 runs would be I think 8 runs, because I think in this level, if starting pitchers are holding guys to 3 to 4 runs in an outing, they're doing their job. They're doing their job. If you're holding teams to 3 runs in 5 innings, I think you're doing your job, and then it leaves you maybe a little bit of wiggle room going in. I think 8 runs is a good place to kind of say over under, because that gives each team about 4 You could see some of those 5-3 games, those 4-3 games. I think that's about the range you're going to see for a lot of these NABF.
And we have to talk about it because DJ brought it up on our show last week when we were talking about the Class B and the delay that it has because there's still a championship series to be had.
Yeah, that is happening still.
If Creekside and Astro Falcons meet, should that count double? Should they say this is game 4 as well as a matchup in the NABF championship?
I mean, geez, that's a good question, right? I mean, if that you wish you could just kind of double it down, right? If they meet up in the NABF World Series, just call it, all right, this is game 4 too. Everything's on the line.
So if Creekside wins, then we'll come back tomorrow. We'll play game 5. If Astro wins, it's over. Both of them are over.
Yeah,
take a lot of the strategy out of like, okay, which one am I putting more weight in, winning the NABF or winning Class B? Because you gotta have to throw pitchers and make those decisions on who you're gonna have available the next day when you restart the Class B championships.
I can't believe like that those still have to get on too, and we're in a 2-1 series with that as well. Creekside's fighting for their season lives, and Astros got a 2-1 lead, but that still needs to resume action right after this these NABF games.
And don't forget that we still have the Class B baseball to wrap up. I mean, everyone's kind of focused right now on NABF, and rightfully so. But don't forget, like the Astro Falcons and Creekside are still locked into a Class B championship series, and the Astro Falcons have a 2-1 lead, and that will have to be resumed on the 25th, which is Monday.
And that's going to be exciting as that's going to have to get off as well. And then we still got Palomino World Series that's going as well. So you can still see the baseball talent in this area for a little bit longer.
Oh, just, don't worry. It's sticking around. That's for sure.
It's going to be here to stay for years to come too. Plenty of young talent that we've seen this season.
Because even after the Class B is done, Bobstein Park is still going to be used for hold on, I retweeted it. Hold on. The Santa Showcase on August 13th. So Santa Baseball Showcase will be at Bobstein Park. So baseball is not going anywhere for at least a couple of weeks in the area.
Got it. We got it all here too for you. Got plenty of games here on the network for you as well.
You gotta use Bobstein Park as much as possible while you can. Like you can't let that field sit away.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you got to make sure you use it up. And a lot of teams do make sure they get good use out of it. It's a beautiful ballpark.
I'm gonna go into the Storm Tracker 21 app real quick before we go to our first break to see how the day looks. And even though we dodged rain yesterday, today looks amazing. Your high is going to be 85, and that will be around 5 o'clock. It'll get to 85 and then dip a little bit lower into the low 80s, high 70s as we get into the night. And then we look at tomorrow. It's going to be sunny with a high of 89. So we're hot and humid for the next 2 days of the NABF World Series. So don't you worry about trying to dodge any kind of rain.
Yeah, make sure you're drinking plenty of water out there too, keeping yourself hydrated with the hot, humid conditions as well.
I said it before, we don't do day games in Kansas City anymore. That heat stroke is a real deal. So make sure you're staying hydrated. You're finding shade when you can. On Facebook the other day, Ty, I saw this picture of a travel ball tournament in Texas. And if anyone's ever been to Texas, you understand the heat is legit. Like it is, Texas heat is different. So they were standing in the shade of a pole, like a little line of shade, barely big enough to cover your body, and it was like a line of 8 people just standing in that little strip of shade, trying to find some blockage of the sun.
Please, just block.
Please, no trees, just this power pole.
Just
Save us.
Please. No. Yeah. Texas heat is different, but I mean, still, the heat here will get you if you're not careful. So make sure you stay hydrated, whether you're playing or spectating.
Safety tip of the day.
Or you're like Fred Moots and you're behind the dish or on the bases like that. Make sure you're staying hydrated too if you're officiating.
All right, so that will take us into our first break. Want to remind everybody at 1 o'clock today, we will be welcoming in Matt Hamley, who is the head coach of the Austintown 10U softball team that will be heading to state this weekend. They won districts back a couple weeks ago on ysnlive.com, and they will finally be able to prepare themselves for a state tournament run this weekend for the state championship in 10U. That is it for 10U. So there's no regionals or little league. There's just, this is like the trophy to get. So they're going for their main goal this weekend, as we will talk to Matt Hamley in a little bit at 1:00. All that and more coming up on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our family's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players' rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable, we are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And hold on, I got to get my headphones back in. They're really itching my ears today, so that's why I had them off during the commercial break. But Ty, as we continue this episode of Running Point, and we will look forward to having Matt Hamley of Austintown 10U softball on at 1:00. We have our last final of the early games at the NABF World Series coming from Scene Park. It was the World Series Titans Baseball Club and World Series Ohio Tide. The Tide beat the baseball club 15-5 in that game that started at 10 a.m. So that is the last final of the day. Oh, not of the day, of the morning, I should say. Next games will start in a little bit, and you can find them all on ysnlive.com/live.
We look forward to providing your continued coverage of the NABF World Series. As Anthony said, you could find it completely free on our site,
I
YSN
want to
Live.
dive into some of these box scores, especially for the most competitive game of the morning so far, which was the Avalanche beating the Bonnie Bees 3-2. And we look at some of the Avalanche's big hitters in a low scoring game, really. It looks like they had 2 RBIs on the day, one from Mark Catron and another from Andrew Galt, who we know very well. They both went well. Actually, Catron went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Galt went 1 for 4. Avalanche made the most out of just 5 hits on the day, scoring 3 runs. The other run was scored by Noah Filson from the bottom of that lineup. He scored a run, as well as Catron scored a run from the top of the lineup. And then their last run scored was from Sean Hedrick, who went over 3 with a run scored. Their pitching was obviously dominant. They only gave up 2 runs, and it was David Moyer that got the win, pitching 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, 1 earned run, striking out 2. But the bulk of the innings were actually pitched by Jack Strausser. He went 6, gave up 5 hits, 1 earned run, and struck out 9. So he had a good day despite not getting the decision on the win.
And with the amount of pitching that we've seen, like the arms are just getting so much better. And pitching is unfortunate because, like, I think pitchers, in no matter what sport, what is it for high school? I don't remember how many innings you need to technically get a win.
Well, it should be the half the game, so it should be 4.5.
4.5 innings, okay. Because like majors, I know it's 6, 6 technically, 5, excuse me, 5 to get the win. So it's a hard thing to get wins, and it's very easy to get losses on your record as in baseball. That's why we say it's a fickle sport for pitchers. You could have a great game and get no decision out of it, or
that's why I never look at win-loss record for pitchers as far as determining how good they are. That's just how good their team plays when they're on the mound, right? So they could have a low ERA and still have a bad win-loss record. They could just have poor run support and still have a bad win-loss record. That is one of the last stats that I go to define how good a pitcher is. Avalanche won on a walk-off in the bottom of the 8th, by the way. It was tied at 2 going into extras, and the Avalanche got that run in the bottom of the 8th to win 3-2.
Avalanche, yeah, like you said, Ant, getting a big win too, and we love seeing our Bob Scene teams get wins like that.
So once again, this is 16U this morning. 18U will be later in the day as we look at. I want to look at that Creekside box score too, since they are a Class B team, and we'll look and see who their big hitters were on the day, and multiple hits from Frank Sinadak, who went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Also going 2 for 4 was Jackson Cheeks. He had a 2 for 4 day. 2 for 3 day for Carter Owens, also 2 runs scored and RBI. The most productive batter of the lineup, though, Ty, was Tyler McEwen, who went 1 for 2 with 3 RBIs. So he made the most out of his 1 hit of the day. As a total, Creekside had 12 hits, 7 runs, and 7 RBI. Their pitching also pretty good, only giving up 3 runs total. And let's see, all 3 runs were earned. The win was charged to Carter Owens. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 8, only walked 3, and used 71 pitches. So Owens gets the win on the mound, and 3 pitchers are used in the game for Creekside to come away with the 7-3 victory.
Exciting times too for Creekside to get that big win, and we see Carter Owens being featured again too. It's a name in the YSN network, and we love seeing these names too that we're going to be able to see with their high schools here soon. So, guys, we'll get to cover now. Go right into the high school season.
So those are the box scores for the 2 Class B games that came in today. And we'll just take a quick look at also the Titans versus the Tide, 15-5. The Tide get the win. And let's see, they had a lot of offense. They had a total of 10 hits for 15 runs. 12 of their 15 were hit in by RBI. 4 RBIs on the day from Matthew Richardson, who went 1 for 4 with 4 RBIs. So that must have been a pretty big hit that he had. Multiple hits from Alex Mester, who went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 2 walks, and 2 RBI. 3 RBI on the day from a hitless performance from Lucas Brandt. He walked 3 times, scored 4 runs. I'm sorry, those were walks. He didn't have 3 RBI. I was looking at the wrong lane. I was what to say. Going hitless and getting 3 RBIs is kind of hard, but he walked 3 times, scored 4 times on an 0 for 2 day. 2 RBI apiece from the top of the order in Brett Zawatsky and Brandon Henderson. They both went. They both had 2 RBIs, and Zawataski, went 2 for 2 with a run scored, and then Henderson went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored, a walk, and 2 RBI. So those were some of the big bats for the Tide. Pitching wise, getting the win on the mound for them was Matthew Packard. He went 3 innings, gave up 1 earned run, and struck out 4, walked 2. So he had a good outing to get the win on the mound for the Tide.
Yeah, and I mean, you see these new teams that we don't always get a chance to see. I kind of like seeing the new names and new teams that we get a chance to kind of preview for our first time during these NABF games.
Yeah, it's really fun. Some of the names that we get to see, and of course there are teams from all around the country that come in to play in this NABF World Series, not just from Ohio. So we get to see some out of state names come in and shine at Bob Seam Park as well, and get to shake some hands and talk to some people about YSN and get them some recognition on what YSN is. And who knows? You never know who's going to be the right person to see that YSN network and want to become a new member of the YSN family, or the board of the Wall of Schools, I should say, the Wall of Schools in the studio. You never know who's going to be the next one.
No, you never know who's the next school to join that brick and continue building the brick by brick, like you said, that motto.
All it takes is the right person to watch, right? Maybe an AD, maybe someone that's close to an AD or close to a superintendent that's like, look at this, is kind of cool. 60 games in a weekend. Like, hey, let's see what they can do for us, right? So it just takes the right person to kind of tune in, and you never know when that's going to happen.
No, you don't. And I mean, that's the great thing about the show. You never know what's going to happen.
No, well, you know what's going to happen on this show. We're going to talk to Matt Hamley in about 15 minutes to talk about the Austintown 10U softball team.
Yeah, and we're excited. We're definitely excited for that. As I mean, that Hamley name, we've heard it before too. It's lighting up the world too with that 10U team.
Mila Hamley went the first couple games in that bracket without giving up a hit, gave up a couple of the pole, and it didn't matter. Austintown ran through the championship as well. And they kind of ran through that whole bracket. It wasn't too many games where they didn't dominate. So they're going to look very strong going into the state tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, we're excited for it too. We hope wish the best of luck for all of our local teams to go as far as they absolutely can.
That will be taking place in the same place that Boardman 12U went to state, up there in Ashtabula, as far as their that will start this weekend on Saturday. So that's when Austintown will go to state. Once again, it is the last mark for 10U. So this is the big trophy. This is their big goal. This is what they want this as a team to get state. There's no regionals for 10U. You end at state, and that's who you get. You get the big trophy. And Austintown is, I think, well, if they go undefeated, 4 wins away from that state championship.
And you would love to see it too. You would absolutely love to see them. Anytime we see them hoist a trophy, our teams, we go for it.
And don't forget, the 10U team from Poland, even though they didn't win that championship, did qualify for the state bracket. So they will be making the trip down there to Ashtabula as well to play in the state tournament at 10U softball. So Poland will be down there as well. Both those teams impressed a lot. They battled each other for a championship. They battled each other in the normal bracket. So they'll be down there as well. And maybe we'll have an all YSN championship. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. We would certainly love that, though.
That would guarantee a state champion right there.
We'll take it. We will certainly.
Unfortunately, we didn't get any in our spring sports high school coverage. So maybe we'll get a couple more in our summer sports coverage.
Yeah, like we're definitely open to get a couple. We need to make up for some
I know.
loss.
We'll take state championships anywhere we can get them.
Yeah, just give us some gold. Let's get some gold for our
Give
teams,
us
right?
those rings, man.
no, no, we're excited for Austintown 10U. We'll be talking with Coach Hamley here at 1:00. But yeah, definitely exciting times for this 10U team.
Ty, you missed the conversation yesterday, but I do want to get your perspective real quick before we get into that interview about the referee situation and whether or not the question put on our social media was, should referees be demanding extra pay? Is that fair? Do you think that's something that should happen from your perspective? Where do you stand on it? Do you think they are underpaid? Do you think they need more money? Do you think they're good where they're at? Where do you see this kind of shaking down? They're asking for, I think they were asking for $80 a game with a possibility of getting it raised to 100.
I'm all for getting referees a little bit extra money. I mean, I'm all for giving them a little bit in the pockets. But if you're going to do that, I feel like there needs to be some sort of baseline or quality control we get with referees then, right? Because when you start asking more money, I think you need to start expecting a little bit more then out of referees too. So for instance, like when we see guys that are out of position for calls, and I mean, it's not all the time too, but I've seen it happen too. And guys that are just not in the right position to make calls like that too. Maybe even, I mean, if you have more money into it, you can maybe utilize more referees per game. And I think always adding an extra official, especially to baseball, if you have 3 instead of 2, a 3-man crew makes all the difference, I think, for the sport. But I think you need to have some sort of quality control, I guess, in some aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we understand these are still high school coaches. They're going to make more mistakes, but you just can't let any Joe Schmo go out there and make terrible calls and on the field getting paid.
I wonder if this is across the board for all sports, because in a sport coming up like volleyball, there are schools that only pay to have the two net judges and have parent volunteers be your line judges. Still, they don't want to pay that extra, whatever those line judges get paid for 4 referees in a volleyball game. If you jack the prices up, then those schools are really not going to want to have line judges that, are paid to be there anymore in volleyball, which sometimes that doesn't affect anything. Sometimes they have good parents that can be volunteers and have really credible line judges. And sometimes I've seen volunteer line judges not so good.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but I mean, it's kind of it's kind of a rock and a hard place situation that you're in between when you talk this, because like the money has to be generated from somewhere in instances, right? So
money tree.
But like I said too, you can improve the game with the quantity of officials, but like I said, you can also just improve the quality of the officials you're having on the field. And if you have 2 quality ones as opposed to just 2, Joe Schmoes that could go on there. Not saying that there's a bunch of those in there, but you know what I'm getting at. If schools would be willing, I think, to pay. They wouldn't mind if there's a little bit extra charge in it if they know that they're getting good officials in return that are going to call good, fair, clean games, know what they're doing, know the rules, know what they're talking about. Like, because I mean, if you're thinking about that too, especially like in summer baseball season, if referees are making $100 a game, they're going through 2-3 games a day. That's not a bad day's work then for them as well. But if you're going to be making that kind of money too, you need to expect a little bit of quality in return.
Umpires make a little bit more in the travel scene. We know that, traveling to, especially when you go to the big showcases like at Burlington Park, or you go to Colorado, or the PGFs in California, which Cindy Watts and her team are going to be traveling to California this weekend for the PGF National. So good luck to the Lady Dukes down there. But when you go to those kind of events, one, the umpires get paid a little bit more, but they're also, you get to fill out grade cards and you get to kind of evaluate the umpires. So
that's
like
cool.
you said, you get paid more, but the expectations go up a little bit, and your ability to be scrutinized. I don't want to say scrutiny, because scrutiny sounds negative. Your ability to be critiqued or reflected on goes up a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just I don't know the exact answer, but I do know that if if umpires, referees, they want more money, like it's like I said, I'm all right with it, but then you just got to expect, and then schools are certainly going to, if we got to pay you more, we want good officials. We don't need any
Right.
this number of bad calls and things getting out of hand. We expect good officiating then if we're going to pay that kind of money.
At the end of the day, I feel like the referees have a lot of leverage because if they don't show up, you can't play. You're not going to play.
Like I said, it's a rock and a hard place situation. So,
Like if you just say, you know what, find somebody else to officiate. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's
They're
tough.
not gonna, most of them are doing it out of the love of the game. If they do get paid, it's not like they're making a living off refereeing.
No,
It's not
no.
like they're gonna be like, I need this job to stay alive. It's just like, I don't really, like I said with Scotty yesterday, a lot of referees and umpires right now are like, how much is getting verbally abused worth to me? On the daily, because I've heard some really, really nasty things said to like personal insults said to umpires, and it's like, how much is that really worth to me? Is that worth $50 a game? Maybe not.
It's a good question to raise because we see it on all fronts, and I mean, you try to understand, and I try to put myself in all the shoes of the referees, the shoes of the kids that have to deal with, like you said, the bad calls. You try to put yourself in everyone's shoes and just try to understand from all perspectives, and it's hard because you can relate and you can empathize with everyone in a certain case, in a certain scenario. I feel like too, because I mean, like we said, there's bad officials in the area, right? Like there's no doubt, but it's again one of those situations where it feels like we can allow a few bad apples to ruin a bunch as well too. And we think every official all of a sudden has those bad tendencies too, because we've seen it once or twice before.
And we always have to remember that officials are human at the end of the day and deserve the respect that every human deserves.
This is actually raising a whole other point we're not even discussing right now. The more you make, tax conversation enters the picture. A lot of officials pay close attention to how much they make at one school. That's a great point by Chris Rigler too. That a lot of these officials don't want to make over X amount of dollars because they don't want to be taxed on it either. Because that's, like you said, Ant, it's not like it's money that they need for bills, right? It's like beer money. It's their fun money. So they don't necessarily, it's a few extra bucks too to have week to week. So the better officials may be limited to where they go. It's a tough situation to talk about with the officials because we already seen an official shortage as it was, right? So it's like you're trying to figure out how you can get more officials in there, but you don't want just any old.
Here's the thing, like, okay, how can you, if you're not going to pay, let's say you can't pay them more because of like the taxes, what can you do to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit? And for football, Fred Moots brought up that they go out to eat after because so maybe feed the referees after a game so they don't have to go out and spend money to go out to eat after the game.
I feel like
comparable. I mean, a $30 pizza order to feed the referees after.
Well, it's like so many of these schools have decent amount of concessions. Just have stuff set aside. How much food do you think these are wasting or going to waste day to day at those concessions that you could have set aside a few for the officials, right? I mean, like, and I feel like that's a one way, like you said, Ant, to kind of sweeten the deal without, I guess, doing it financially. Is, I mean, if you feed the officials, take care of the officials, but it also at the same time it kind of builds that relationship between officials and schools. And I feel like if you want the calls and if you want the quality to improve, that might be the way to do it, is if you build that close bond, that relationship between schools and officials. I mean, we see how many of these kids now are going out of their way to know the officials' names and be able to talk to these officials on day to day. It's a lot harder for an official to say, well, I don't care about what you think, bad call. Like, I mean, I didn't see it, and then argue back with you. A lot more officials are going to be receptive to listening to you, listening to what you have to say if there's already a close relationship or a good bond that's built there. They know your name. They know who you are. You're not just another number playing on a court or on a field.
And one of the things that, comes to mind as well, when I look at the official situation, Fred Mooch brought it up as well yesterday. They changed the logo of the OHSA. I don't know if you saw it, but they've changed the logo. It's a new OHSA logo now.
I did not see it.
you're gonna have to buy new equipment and new shirts with that logo on it.
Of course.
And where's that money gonna go?
That is I mean, it's almost comical how OHSA finds ways to just scrape in those extra dollars.
There's a reason why their logo is green, guys.
Oh my God! I was curious. I was going to ask, well, why'd they do it? Well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, the power of green prevails once again for the OHSAA.
It's rebranding, and if you haven't seen it, you can go check it out. It's a little bit more simpler. It doesn't have the torch anymore. It doesn't have like the big O. It's just a simple state of Ohio with a block OHSAA going across it. So it's a lot more streamlined, I guess you would say. Oh,
I see it. I see it. Oh, but now we're just
a different green color now too. It's a darker green.
Gonna change the logo every year, every 2 years, and be like, "Hey, we're gonna need you to pay for those uniforms again that our logo's on."
Yeah, we're gonna need if you could pay for a new uniform change, that'd be great.
Oh man, we'll continue this discussion in the second hour of the show, but coming up at 1 o'clock, like you said, Matt Hamley from Austintown 10U going to be joining us, and we'll get into that conversation a little bit.
Going to state.
That should be a fun one to talk about, certainly, as another team going to, like you said, big game, big tournament.
It will be, and they're going to be led by pitching. I'll tell you that much. Their pitching staff has been lights out. Mila Hamley, one of the shining stars in that 10U district, and they're going to be I think they're going to go as far as she'll carry them in the circle. Austintown
with good pitchers there. Are you kidding me?
No. Is that something we've heard before?
I saw yesterday that Sydney Watts now has a curveball and a screwball off speed that she is utilizing.
I told you that her coach right now that she's being coached by has one of the best off speeds that I've ever seen at the college level. And Megan Betza, she played for Michigan. Close your ears, Ohio State fans. I'm sorry. She was an All-American at Michigan. She has a really good off-speed pitch, and it hurt a lot of people. So now she's getting taught by one of the best to do it. It's scary. I think she started throwing a no-hitter this summer.
I already threw a comment out there, and I said that's going to be a problem. It's just like sound the alarm. That's going to be a problem for bats. That's just
that's what she was missing this year. A consistent off-speed to be commanded, right? So. Now she has a consistent off speed that she can command and put anywhere she wants. Yikes.
Dangerous. Just more in your repertoire.
You do that and you up your velocity about 2 or 3 miles per hour.
Well, if she's touching 70s, then.
If she hits 70, and I've said this before, Ty, if she hits 70 with velocity, I don't care what her off speed is. Like a college coach would be like, I can fix that. You're hitting 70, you're coming to play.
She's only going into her sophomore year. And if you want to talk about these athletes, and it's not just Sid, there's plenty of our athletes, the work they've been putting into softball since the season ended for them in the high school season, like travel ball tournaments, just workouts and practice
camps, high level softball camps. And I want to give it a shout out to someone else that's in a premier softball realm with Maddie Benson. I mean, she went to Oklahoma State softball camp over last weekend. So, Maddie Benson is going to be one of those players going into her junior year that's probably going to be a Division I Power 5 recruit.
She's incredible. She has one of the prettiest swings I've ever seen in the high school softball.
It's clean. She's got a really good lower half of her body that moves well. Her hips move
so
the ball.
It's in the swing. Like you see when she swings, it looks effortless to her, but it looks like she's swinging so hard at the same time. It's like an effortless power swing.
There's a reason she hit 12 home runs, guys. There's a reason that she was YSN's hitter of the year.
She could absolutely crush the ball. Absolutely crush it.
But yeah, power comes from the lower body, right? Power comes from your legs in the baseball, softball swing. She understands that because you watch her load and the way that she, transfers her weight from her front back foot to her front foot during her swing. It's phenomenal.
You'll love to see it, and you love to see the dedication to constantly improving, and that's what we see all these area athletes do. It's that dedication to always get better day in and day out. And I mean, it starts with the youth levels, and we're going to get a chance to talk with a guy that highlights those youth levels with the Austintown 10U team and Coach
He
Ham.
sure does. We're gonna bring him on as soon as I'm able to change this plate right here and change this background. Get our nameplates out of there and get Matt Hamley on, the head coach of the Austintown 10U softball team that is heading to state this weekend. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Coach, I just want to talk first and foremost about the experience this season, what it's been like to be on this ride with these kids, and the feelings you have going on right now, knowing you guys are going to state.
It's been a blast this season. We had a great rec season. We had 2 different teams, and then we had a great season. And then once we joined All-Stars and got our district team together, then we rolled into straight into districts. Obviously did well there. And then we just finished up a couple All-Star tournaments yesterday, actually. And it's been great. The girls have really come together during the season, and it's just a great group of girls. They've meshed really well, and we've had a ton of fun.
So a lot of people are familiar with your team from watching them on YSN throughout your district run. But for those of people that didn't kind of catch them, can you throw out the names that have really been big for you this season and some of the big standout players that have really helped you get to where you are?
Sure. It's been a team effort all around, honestly. We have 12 girls on our team, and they've all contributed, in one way or another. So, it's been a team effort, but starts in the circle. My daughter, Mila Hamley, is one of our pitchers. Also, Annabelle Mikesell, Bella Mattern. Those are our other 2 pitchers. And then behind the plate, we had Marissa Polder, who stepped up big time this season. She just started catching this past year, catching Mila all fall and all winter, coming to her lessons and everything. And she played a big part behind the plate. Also, we have Gianna Hoops, who's also primarily a catcher, but played second base for us in a few of our district games. Ava Fisher, Gracie Fonda, little Peyton Severn, Addison Wadenthal. All these girls have done something. Also, Julia Jordan, Ava Panamarzik, and Kendra Lake. They've all contributed in one way or another, whether it be at the plate or in the field, making plays, or in the dugout, even cheering the girls on when they weren't in the game. So it's a total team effort.
What's that dynamic like of being both a coach and a father to Mila, and watching her have the success that she's had in the circle?
It's great. I'm glad I get to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Being there, watching her put all of the work in that she does during the winter, doing pitching lessons, getting extra work in all the time, and then to see it all come together out on the field while I'm coaching it's pretty special. I try to be a little more laid back during the games and stuff. So just watching her, see how things go, and enjoying the moment, I guess you could say, while they're out there playing.
One of the things that has to be so exciting for you too is the fact that she just committed to be a part of that Beverly Bandits premier team. That you really gets to expose her to a lot of talent, and they travel a lot, and it's a big premier travel softball team to help her develop her skills. So, going forward in her future, how excited are you that she gets to be a member of that team?
Yeah, we're very excited. It'll be a new chapter for us in her travel softball career. We've been a part of a great team this past couple years, and at the end of this season, everybody's going a different direction. So she's joining the Beverly Bandits team that we've battled a handful of times this season. We know the coaches well and the players well, so we decided to join them. It's a great organization. It's one of the bigger ones in the country, like you said. We will travel a lot. She'll get to play against the best in the country, week in and week out. So we're looking forward to something new, some new coaching, some new experiences, meeting new players, building new relationships with the girls, and just getting the overall experience.
Okay, so that's Mila's journey so far, but I'm curious about your journey, Coach. How'd you find yourself in the head coaching position for this, and when did you first find yourself getting into the coaching softball role?
Oh, man. So Mila started at ACB. I think she was 5 actually, and I just helped out as an assistant coach for the first couple of years. I didn't know a ton about softball, but I just wanted to be a part of it and help out in any way I could. And then as the years went on, I seen that I could do more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to help out more. So I would say her 8U year. I was the head coach of the 8U season when last year Coach pitched, and that's kind of when things really started getting going. And that season, to be honest with you, we in the All-Star tournaments and whatnot, we got whooped on pretty good. So when we moved up to 10U, that's when I knew we just had to do something different. We couldn't just roll in every spring and pick up a glove. Then you had to put in some extra work during the winter time, and that's when I really tried to do some more stuff in Austintown as far as the softball culture goes at the youth level, just putting in more work with some of our other coaches all winter long last year. And then we continued that into this year. And that's how we really started getting going and, turning the corner.
You talked about the all-star tournaments that you guys played in this week, to get ready for the state tournament. How important have those been? Because it's been a couple of weeks since you guys won district. So you guys have had a couple of weeks off before you go into state. So trying to keep these girls fresh and keep them locked in. How important have these tournaments that you played in the last week or so been?
I think they're very, very important. We finished up districts the first week of July. Then they had the rest of that week off. Then the following week, we put them in 2 tournaments at the same time, actually. One was in Springfield and one was in Girard. And I think it, like you said, it just helped keep them fresh, keep them going. That the district tournament was honestly the first time where they actually got to all play together as one big unit, because they were split into 2 during the regular rec season. So district was the first time we actually seen them together on the field. So obviously we wanted to just get them more reps as the All-Star season went along, and got some of the other girls, opportunities to pitch more or catch more, whatever, just more reps, more batting reps. I think that's one of the most important things. Just getting those live at bats against good teams, getting different looks, seeing what other teams are going to do. So it's been very important.
Do you have any tips or tricks on being able to teach the game to the girls, keep them competitive, but also making sure they're having a fun time and enjoying themselves to stay invested in the sport?
Yeah, it's very important to, teach them the right things, but also keep it fun. I'm not a big yeller and a screamer. There's times, you got to be hard on them and teach them the right things. But if they're not having fun, then, what's the point? That's why they're there. But we just try to, starts in the wintertime. We do a lot of work in the wintertime, just trying to teach them the basic fundamentals on fielding, throwing, hitting off live pitching and different things like that. So once we get out on the field, that's when it's fun. The boring stuff is during the winter in the batting barn, in the gym, doing that extra work. And then when we get out on the field, that's when it's supposed to just be fun. And, that's when the girls get to shine and, have a great time.
I think every coach has kind of a different thing they do to kind of let the girls get loose and let them have fun. What are some things that you guys do to kind of get loose and have fun as a team?
I would say probably the music. I'm a big music guy. We bring in the speaker and we got the playlist going. The girls like to dance a little bit before the games. I just think that keeps them loose. It's sometimes, especially like at the district tournament, we had once we warmed up, they had us kind of rush through the warm-ups, and then we had a 20-minute period where we were just sitting there. I'm like, can we play the music? And we were able to turn the music on, and the girls got to dance a little bit. Just get those jitters out, have a little fun, stay a little relaxed. Because, like I said, at the district tournament, you got the camera trucks and all the equipment everywhere. It's kind of intense there. It could be intimidating. So just the music going, having a good time. Everybody likes it. So that's one thing that we like to do.
Since your coaching career started, any bit of advice that someone's given you that's kind of stuck with you that you utilize on a day-to-day basis in your coaching?
I can't think of one specific thing. I just try to sit back and, I've been a part of travel ball as a parent, as a helper, in the rec leagues and everything. And I kind of just try to sit back and pick little things up from certain coaches or, different teams, what I like and what I don't like. And then just try to implement those, the goods that I see and, try to implement them into our program and just move forward with that. So I can't think of a specific thing or a specific, piece of advice anybody's given me, but I just think it takes you got to care and, put in the time and the dedication. And I think that's the key.
In your district games, there were a lot of varsity members of the Austintown softball family that were there supporting your girls. What do you think that does for them, seeing the girls that they kind of look up to come out and support them from the varsity level in a level that they could be in a couple of years?
I think it's great. The whole community, being behind the softball program, whether it's the young ones going up to watch Fitch play or vice versa, when it was our turn to, be on the big stage, we had, multiple girls there, cheering us on, or, just even text messages, posts on Facebook and stuff like that. I think it's awesome for the girls to see the older players, when we get to go watch them, and then they turn around and they're supporting us. I think it's big for the girls. They like that. They know that they care. And it's the same thing with the coaching, with Coach Ward. He's been a part. He's always super supportive, always posting, anything that we put on there, he's commenting or sharing, or anything he could do to be supportive. He's there as well as the girls.
What's something about coaching that you didn't expect or caught you off guard, and what's your favorite thing about coaching?
My favorite thing about it is, just seeing the girls, progress, I would say. Some of these girls, when we start, honestly, they don't throw or catch the ball properly, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time. You can't just figure that out in a week or two. You got to do a lot of work outside of practice as well. But just watching them grow over the months, I think that's pretty rewarding. It's not about, winning this trophy or this or that. It's just watching them grow as a team and get better and have fun doing it. That's probably the most rewarding thing, the thing I like the most. I would say what I didn't know about it is how much time and effort it takes. I mean, if you want to be good, if you want to be a good coach, if you want your team to succeed, you have to put a lot of time in. So it takes up a ton of my spare time. But on the other hand, I love that. I'm all in, but it takes a lot of time.
When you think about some of the things that these girls have accomplished, and you kind of, I know you still got one more challenge ahead, but you reflect a little bit. What are some of your fondest memories with this group and being able to call yourself their coach?
I would say just obviously winning districts, and then we just won 2 more all-star tournaments. But districts is obviously the biggest one. That's the most intense one. That's the one we look forward to all year, playing the other, close communities with the TV or, TVs rolling, cameras rolling, all the fans there. That's the biggest one. So for them to, leading up to that, knowing all the lights are on them and everything, and watching them actually pull it out as a team, I think that's the most rewarding thing.
Speaking about close communities, Poland's going to be making the trip to the state tournament as well. So when you think about, this is a softball fan of area, softball players making good quality improvements. What does it mean to you to see multiple teams from the area kind of qualify for the state?
Yeah. So every district that gets to go to the state tournament, they get to bring their champ and their runner up, go to the state tournament. So I think it's good. I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't be mad if they weren't there. I think we're going to have to go through them a couple more times to bring home a state title. And they're a very good team. I think it's good. It's great experience for the girls. I think, the more they get to experience it, the better. But they're a great team, and they're going to be tough to beat again.
All right, Coach. What we like to do with all of our interviews, we like to give you a chance to shout out your assistants and some other big influential names that have been with you along your journey.
Sure. So this season, Mike Polder's been with me the whole time, putting in work every week. Shelly Severn, she's been instrumental the past 2 years. She's always there listening to whatever I got to say on the other end of the phone calls. She's a big helper. A couple guys that helped fill in for us this season at times were Brian Mattern and Jeff Mikesell this season. And then last season, Eddie Inglis is a huge part of what we did last year and moving forward. He's up in the 12U this season. And then one of the guys that plays a huge role in our whole softball work that we do is Bob Smith. That's my daughter's pitching and hitting coach, as well as a handful of the girls on our team. They all go to him for pitching or hitting, and he's kind of, I would say, a guy that I look to for advice at times, or pick his brain on certain things. So he's helped out a ton. And then
tell you what, there are a ton of players in the area, whether they be varsity or
I think
cut out there for a second.
Yeah, he definitely cut out.
I did. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck in the state tournament coming up. And once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That was Matt Hanley, the head coach of the Austintown 10U softball team that is making their trip to state in Ashtabula over the weekend to try to fight for a state championship. And like he said, they might have to go through that Poland team a couple more times.
That'll be a fun matchup too. And of course, like we said before, you better get used to that Hamley name because Mila is definitely lighting it up, and we expect to see her name go through the ranks and eventually up through the varsity levels as well in high school realm. So we're excited to see how she can continue to progress and continue to impress us, because she's already been impressive at such a young age. And so is this Austintown team. Chance to win states, and like you said, Ant, chance to go up against Poland. Like, we might expect them to do a couple more times.
They might have to go through each other a couple more times. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, from our perspective, both YSN teams we'll take the all YSN matchup.
Right, let's go.
But like you said, I mean, the more times you face each other, there's nothing really much left to hide, right? There's not much left you could hide when you face each other this many times in a season. So they're going to be throwing everything they got at the wall. See what happens.
And that's what makes tournament time so fun, like especially when you're familiar with the opponents. My best against your best. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for Coach Hamley, I mean, he serves an integral part too. And there's a lot of names you hear there. Peyton Severin. We already know what Sam Severin's doing at the varsity level. So it's like you hear these names, you hear the younger siblings of these names in the youth levels too. And Coach Hamley and these youth coaches serve as important roles in transitioning those kids and keeping them invested into the sport through the ranks into the next levels too. And I don't think youth coaches get nearly enough of the credit that they deserve in that, but they are a huge, integral, and vital part of why we see the successful athletes we see in the varsity levels of high school, is because at some point there was a youth coach that got that kid invested. Most of the stories, at least, that got that kid invested and kept them invested.
These youth coaches are the difference between a player gassing out, not wanting to play by the time she's of varsity age, and a kid being invested into the sport. Like how you handle them at this age, especially 10 and 12U, that's when they start to make their decisions on what they want to do going forward with the sport.
Absolutely. And I mean, if they want to stay with the sport, or like we said, we've heard plenty of careers or sporting careers from other athletes that played other sports at some point in their career that quit because it was one bad coaching horror story. And I mean, especially at those youth levels, like you said, and that's the most crucial time to get them invested, because you can really turn them away from the sport and keep them away.
It's also a lot of pressure to say, hey, you're the responsible for whether or not this girl continues to play softball or not, because they're pretty much volunteers. They're not really, they're giving up a lot of time of their day to just for the love of the kids. But hey, also on top of that, you're going to be one of the key factors in whether this kid continues to play softball.
Yeah. And
that's a lot riding on your shoulders, don't you think? I mean,
the most important thing is that you just want to be a good coach, right? You just want to make sure like you walk that fine line of teaching the sport but keeping it fun, because there's going to be girls that walk away from the sport anyway, that they just don't think it's for them to continue into the varsity level. We see that with plenty of athletes too, and that's okay. But the important thing is when they walk away from it, what are they saying about the experience with the team, the experience under you? And I mean, those are the experience and the memories that are going to last a lifetime too, whether they continue the sport or not. you serve as an integral part of the memories that they're going to make as a child.
That all comes from the person before player mentality that we've talked about for the last several months. You got to put the person before the player.
Absolutely. And I mean, Austintown does a great job of kind of really using that as like a motto inside those softball programs as well. So, I mean, they do a great job of really utilizing that kind of quote in their program.
Once again, Austintown and Poland both going for a state championship in Ashtabula this weekend in the 10U softball bracket. We wish them the absolute best of luck.
Fingers crossed. Let's get a championship.
Fingers and toes crossed. Let's just go. Let's just cover all of our bases.
Let's get it done, right? Let's get it done.
I can't cross my toes. Like my toe muscles don't work. So
I got you. I'll get you. I got the toes.
I don't want. Yeah, you cross your toes. I'll stick with the fingers and I'll cross my fingers and my arms.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man,
those two jackamos talking about sports all the time.
Yeah, that's all we are. Oh man, why don't we pay some more of our bills and thank some more of our sponsors that actually let these two jackamos continue talking about sports every day.
All right, well, we're going to be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
We are Kent State in the Valley. Start and finish one of more than 25 bachelor's or associate degree programs, or start one of Kent State's 280 majors. With low tuition, public, and plenty of scholarship opportunities, we will help you maximize your education and minimize student debt. Enjoy the benefits of a smaller campus with all the opportunities of a large university. Save money, stay close to home. Apply today by visiting kent.edu/Trumbull.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience, WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSwealth.com. Good luck, athletes!
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. Ty, as we get ready for fall and the fall sports season, one of the sports that is going to be we're going to be getting ready for is soccer. I want to give a shout out to one of our more talented soccer players, that one of the bigger names in the area, Noah Huda. His club team, Canton Akron United Force Soccer, has made it to the national championship final in Colorado for the U.S. Club National Cup 21 against STA ECNL from New Jersey. Those 2 clubs will compete for a championship, and that will be today at 12:30. So it's actually been going on for an hour. The link can be found to watch if you want to stream it. If you go to Canton Akron United Force Soccer Club, they will have a link to watch that game. Let's see if I can find out how they're doing. Let's see if there's a link here.
Check on that. I was also taking a look at the OHSAA site as well, and I noticed that they added some rule changes for track and field and cross country. That was back on July 14th, but they also did for girls lacrosse some major rule changes for girls lacrosse. And obviously, I don't know exactly the entire rule book of lacrosse, but just taking a look at it, there was some modifications and revisions too to how officials are going to be looking at several things too. OHSAA posted that on their site. It's actually one of the most.
Now?
Huh?
Can they wear jewelry now?
Yeah, that's. But no, they have a full list of it too, and a whole article written on that as well. So I was peeking at that as well. So there's some rule changes coming to girls lacrosse in the state.
Well, we had a couple of really big girls lacrosse teams this year, especially Canfield girls lacrosse, that made a historic run for the tournament game. We had all that coverage too. Anthony Romo did a really good job with that team this season. So maybe some rule changes to keep an eye on for the Canfield girls lacrosse team and all of our other local girls lacrosse teams next spring. Ty, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, they're going to look a lot different when they come back home tomorrow, because a lot of their players got either drafted or signed to a free agency deal. I want to give a shout out to the ones that have been posted. The most recent, Colin Fields, has been agreed to a free agent deal with the Tigers. Matt Archer signed a free agent deal with the White Sox today as well. And then last night we saw Will Girdes. He signed a free agent deal with the Padres. And then let's see, Cole Palplum, he signed a free agent deal with the Padres as well. We saw a little bit later on yesterday, we had, gotta scroll through some stuff. We had Eli Ankeny. He got selected by the Mets as draft. Then we had also Duncan Davitt get drafted as well from the Scrappers by the Rays. And then a little bit later on, we had the Astros take Zach DeZenzo in the 12th round of the MLB draft. He'll be heading to the Houston Astros. The Rangers select Cole Drake in the 11th round of the MLB draft, so he'll be heading to Arlington. And let's see, the Rangers also that's the same thing, sorry. And that's the draft and the free agency signings for the Steel Valley Scrappers. So congratulations to all those on the roster that either got drafted or signed to a free agency deal with an MLB ball club.
Yeah, we're excited for them as they get to continue their journey and hopefully achieve their dream of making it to the majors as they get one step closer now.
Another dream recognized is we had a YSU baseball player get drafted as well. And excuse me, lost my train of thought.
Oh, it got derailed. You derailed yourself, Ant. Well,
Take over time.
We had plenty of players that did get drafted too. You could catch all those graphics as well. I know Mahoning Valley Scrappers were releasing it on their social media pages. We've been sharing them as well, so you could take a look at both of those to get the graphics.
I don't know what happened. Matt Broski from the Penguins drafted in the 8th round by the Texas Rangers. Like, my brain just went and just lost all of that. So Matt Broski, congratulations, YSU Penguin. He gets drafted by the Rangers in the 8th round of the MLB draft. He'll be heading to Arlington. So not only do we get a Scrappers heading to the Rangers, but we also get a Penguin heading to the Rangers as well.
It's exciting. They're going to be in the program with the major league club now. So it's going to be exciting to see if they can get up through those ranks and where we're going to be able to see them next.
Yeah, now they have the long road ahead of them, right? They have to fight their way through the minor leagues and prove themselves time and time again and try to work their way up into the organization.
Never know, right? I mean, there's got to be someone that makes it to that journey. You're one step closer once you're in that minor league system.
Yeah, I feel like, and it's a little bit even a better situation for you if you get into one of those smaller market teams, because they're the ones that more times than not, they're not competing by the end of the All-Star break, so they kind of call people up, and that gives other people chances to move up, and you're going to have a little bit more opportunities to move in those organizations.
And that's really, you never know who can catch fire at the right time. I mean, there's plenty of guys that are around here that are raw talent-wise. You put a little bit of development in them, give them a couple years in the minor leagues. You never know. Some of them can definitely be major league ball players, I think.
So the Scrappers will start the second half of the season tomorrow. They'll have a homestand, and they will play 12 of their next 15 games at home at Eastwood Field.
So it's got a bunch of home games on the docket too. Stay tuned for the Scrappers as well, because they're going to have plenty of promotions going on through that as well. So you're going to want to make sure
this is where it gets interesting, Ty, though, because we look at the standings right now, and of course the Scrappers at the end of the first half of the MLB Draft League were sitting in last place, but every team is going to look dramatically different now because they've had drafts. They've had players get drafted by teams in the MLB that are going to be leaving their draft league team, and now they're going to have to replace them. So now these teams' rosters are going to be looking a little bit different. Who handles the second half of the season? Remember last year, the Scrappers were in first place at this point and did not win the draft league. So you never know what teams are going to put together and how teams are going to how they're going to perform after the draft.
No, you don't. And I mean, that's the thing, is it's kind of a wild, wild west scenario right now. You don't know who's going to show up as the gunslinger, right?
Now it's all, still draft eligible kids, and then they open it up to a little bit, some all-stars as well that will get into this Scrappers organization and the draft league across the I don't want to say the country, because it's kind of localized to the northeastern part of the United States, with West Virginia, State College, Frederick, Trenton. They're all kind of
right there. Midwest to Northeast kind of part of the United States. Yeah.
Right. So we'll see how the rest of the draft league goes as far as their season. I think they've looked at last year and how last year went. They definitely made improvements. They definitely said, okay, these are some of the things that we have to fix from last year to this year. And they've done it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we certainly will. And I mean, we're certainly excited to see what the future holds.
So all the promotions for the Scrappers can be found on not just their social media platforms, but also their website. I do want to give a shout out to one of their next platforms, because the Scrappers will be having Down syndrome night very soon. And I was just like their disability awareness night a little bit earlier on in the season. I'm just so proud that we are partnered with an organization that feeds and draws attention to people that in the area that are fighting disabilities. It is close to my heart. So Down Syndrome Night once again will be on June 22nd when they get home. They will also have the jersey auction for the jerseys they wear during Down Syndrome Night. So make sure to head out to the ballpark on July 22nd, which is tomorrow, and check out their new uniforms they'll be wearing for the night. And then if you're of the type that buys jersey auctions, throw your hat in the ring and get a Down syndrome jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As I mean, Scrapper's always taking care of everybody else with plenty of promotions. You could help support their causes as well.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful cause. It's something the Scrappers have done a good job with, not just in their rebirth, I should say, but before when they were a member of the Guardians as well. They did a fantastic job with, not just community outreach, but especially with people in the community that are dealing with disabilities and being somewhere they can go to kind of just have somewhere to go, really have somewhere to go and have fun. A lot of these kids, my mom takes them every Friday night to a Scrappers game. They don't have anywhere else to go. They just kind of sit around all day. They don't really, have too much of a life outside of their home. So to get one of the avenues to go out and check out a Scrappers game and to do it for either free or do it for really cheap. That's one of the things that the Scrappers have always been really good at.
Absolutely, absolutely, and they've always done a great job. I always remember them being great with those kind of nights and those kind of promotions and spotlighting what they need to spotlight in the area. I absolutely agree with you.
So that will be a fun night tomorrow. Richie Giuliano will be on the call as the Scrappers return home. Once again, they will play 12 of their next 15 games at Eastwood Field. So make sure to take the opportunity to go see the Scrappers. Tomorrow's Friday, which means we will be giving away tickets.
Yeah, so you might want to tune in tomorrow so you can get some free tickets to some of these Scrappers games. Like you said, Ant, there's a lot of home games on the docket.
Did you say free?
Yeah, you could be like Ant too, just waiting. He's waiting for the question. Ant would be answering all these questions if he could. If Ant could just be
take him.
stockpiling these tickets, he'd be. But unfortunately,
the tickets they give me are not tickets, so I can't even be like bloop.
They said, "Here, go to a game with this, Ant."
Counterfeit.
Oh man, but no, yeah, you're gonna want to stay tuned to tomorrow's show as well, as we're gonna be giving away our free Scrappers tickets. So, group of 4 can go to one of these remaining home games we got.
Sir, these tickets are counterfeit. We can't let you
in. Yeah, Anthony. Give them the wrong.
Happen. That would totally happen to Anthony.
Just give them the wrong one.
All the games that have started are in full go around. The Ohio Hurricanes just scored 6 runs in the second inning. They lead versus the Bonnie Bees 6-0. And we'll also Whiting. They are in the third inning against East Coast Michigan. Let's see. We'll have some other scores. I think Whiting. They're tied at 2 against East Coast Michigan. So we'll keep an eye on those scores. Live updates on Twitter. If you are unable to tune into ysnlive.com/live, you can go to NABF Info on Twitter, and they have live score updates as well for you for these NABF games.
Yeah, we're excited to be able to present all those scores as well as having the live streaming of our NABF games as well.
But please get over there and watch some games. Well, yeah. Richie Giuliano's putting in a really solid day at the ballpark. So get over there and go to ysnlive.com. Check out his calls. Check out all the announcers that have put in time for today. I think let's see, all of our announcers are putting in triple duty. Richie's doing 3. Matt Mayer is doing 3. Bob Zanny is there for just the afternoon, so he'll be there for the morning game. Ian O'Brien's going to be there a couple of times. We have Dom O'Brien there for 2, David Williams there for 2. So our announcers are putting in a lot of work. So make sure to go in and go to ysnlive.com/live. Check them all out.
Yeah, they've been putting in a good day's work. They've already got some games on the network. There's games currently happening right now. So you could be screening it right now.
If you want to be one of those announcers that can put in the work and have the acknowledgement of being in the NABF and all the other stuff that comes with it, there's still time to reach out to us and try to be a part of our team. We have set the academy date to August 13th and 12th and 13th, I should say, is when we'll invite you down to our office to learn all the ins and outs of what we do and how to set up equipment and things that are going to be put in front of you and opportunities that are going to be put in front of you. So reach out to us if you still want to be a part of the YSN family as an announcer, as a producer, as a graphics maker, as a writer, whatever you want to be as far as this industry goes. We can find a place for you. You can reach out to us on any social media account, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you want to comment on one of our YouTube channels and be like, hey, I want to come work for YSN, we'll take you. And you can also email us at info@ysnlive.com.
Yeah, we got you covered on all fronts too. And if you want to join the team and do what you're strong at, we'll find your strengths and we'll put you to work with them too. And we'll make sure you have an avenue to exploit that as well. So we're excited to present this opportunity for other area, really fans is what we call them, right? Other area fans that want to get invested to these teams and to these schools and these communities.
And that's why we always sign stuff if we're writing an email to someone, if we're asking someone to come on our show, whatever. We sign it with your fan because we're fans. We are fans working for you. So the first and foremost, we are fans of these athletes.
Absolutely, we're definitely fans of all of them. We get excited just as everyone else does for them.
We definitely do, Ty, and we kind of get emotionally attached to their success or lack thereof.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're definitely, every time last season rolls around for these seniors, it's always a tough one.
Ty, I'm sure you saw it. It's something that you're going to be a part of a lot. Austintown Fitch is rolling out a new gym floor this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I was excited when they announced it. It looks slick. I know we posted a thing on it too on our site as well. You could check it out there. But yeah, the new floor with the Block F, I'm really digging the Block F look now with the Falcon still in the background. It's a nice look of the floor, and I also like that they went with the blue on the baseline and the out of bounds areas as well. Instead of going with the red, they went with blue lettering on red. They were going red lettering on blue, and I think it looks a lot nicer.
It does. And on that story with the unveiling of the new gym floor, you can also find the volleyball schedule because volleyball will christen the gym floor this fall. They open their home schedule August 20th against Maslin Perry, a team that they've duked out for the last 3 years, especially not just in the regular season, but also in districts.
Yeah, they absolutely have. So it's going to be fun to see that open up with that.
Look at this Fitch schedule, Ty. They play, obviously, their AAC opponents. They play Lakeview, Strongsville, Hubbard, Western Reserve, Louisville, Mooney, Girard, Ursuline, Crestview out of conference, Marlington out of conference.
I'm excited.
Out of conference.
I'm excited for those home games too. Like I said, Ant, we're going to be trying to get our way into some of these games. I'm excited for another season of Fitch volleyball, but I'm also, like we said, we've had discussions. I'm excited to also try to maybe get into Garfield games this year as well for volleyball.
Ties that's the who's who of local area volleyball greatness.
I love it because it's a lot of YSN teams as well too. So I'm going to be able to get the exposure of all these other YSN teams, good YSN teams in there. And honestly, Crestview versus Fitch is going to be fun. I think Crestview versus Garfield is going to be fun. Have you looked at Crestview's schedule yet, too? I love what I see on Crestview's schedule because, I mean, their conference in the NBAC Gray is already a fun conference.
Right,
anyway.
But, their aspirations are let's go to state, right? Because they were so close last year. They pushed Independence to, third? I think they were up 13-9 and set 5 to win the regional semifinals against the 3-time reigning state runner-up. And they just couldn't finish the doors. So Crestview is kind of looking to take the next step. So their schedule is also taking a little bit of a step up.
Yeah, they gotta get a little bit tougher to get themselves to that next level.
Crestview's on this schedule, Lakeview's on this schedule, Girard's on this schedule. So those are 3 of the premier teams already. Boom, boom, boom. Then you play Canfield twice, like you always do in the AAC. But then you also have Perry twice.
Look at the
Marlington, who is not a YSN team, but is a powerhouse in the EBC with Chelsea Evanich.
The non-conference teams that Fitch lined up right at the end of the season is really wise for them to try to make their push for the state.
I mean, Their final 5 games are Massillon, Perry, Crestview, their last AAC game against Howland, Marlington, Highland.
Those are all really quality. And Howland's not never a bad volleyball team either, year to year. They're always solid. So perfect games to kind of tune you up right before a tournament and get you prepared.
3 of those last 5 games tie are at home. They are going to be home against Crestview, home against Marlington, and home against Highland. Their last road game will be October 11th at Howland.
That's exciting too to see volleyball season right around the corner. So is football season. I'm excited for fall sports, man.
But they're also not shying away from tough road trips. They're going to Girard. They will go to Canfield, of course, to Hubbard, and to Lakeview. So, out of the big premier YSN teams they're playing, Lakeview's on the road, Hubbard's on the road, Girard's on the road. So 3 of those games are road games for Fitch. They are not shying away from traveling to opponents' gymnasiums and trying to play them in their home court.
No, and that's what you love to see. You need to be able to play in tough environments and in road games like that because you're not going to have the home games right later in the season. So you need to be able to position yourself to play the crowd against you.
I got September 26th circled at Girard.
I know you do.
Oh, I'm so excited for that one.
Know you do. I know that's one you were talking to me about one you want to see. That's going to be a fun.
I've been begging for this matchup for 2 years.
It's going to be.
Now we finally get it.
It's going to be a good one. I know that one's been one you've had on your docket. I think ever since Fitch said that they were going to play Girard.
Right, like as soon as they announced their opponents last year after the season, I was like, Girard, ooh.
Yeah, that's going to certainly be a fun one.
I'm circling that one. I love this Crestview matchup. I love that it's good for Crestview, but also it's going to be a test for Fitch.
It absolutely is. I think it's a test for both teams, and I like the idea of not playing your division, right? You want to play teams, but you don't want to play your division. So you want to play some of the best teams from out of your division so you don't have to run into them in the tournament again. You don't want to see anybody or you don't want to show anybody what you got.
The battle between middle blockers between, Fitch and Crestview is going to be insane.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be a fun one. I'm excited.
Because, since last year when they moved Jocelyn Jordan to the outside, they let someone really develop in that middle blocker scheme and be a really good middle blocker. And then, of course, Abby Imch is coming back for her sophomore season at Crestview, and she was the best blocker in the area last year. So seeing those two go at it is going to be fun.
It absolutely is going to be fun, and I can't wait for it, honestly, to see these matchups because volleyball is one of those, like you said, and it happens so quickly. You got to just enjoy it while it's here.
It starts on August 20th, and it's over on October 15th. That's the last game. So that's less than 2 months.
Yeah. It's a case where it's going to be interesting. And the one you were talking about, I believe the middle blocker, I believe they were. I want to say it was Afton Roby that they were.
I couldn't the name slipped me, so I apologize for that.
I was trying to think.
As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that's her.
Afton Roby really developed a lot towards the end of the season, and
Number 7.
She's going to come back as a senior, and she's going to be one of those big seniors too with Jocelyn Jordan that I think are going to be really influential to this team.
Yeah, Jocelyn Jordan coming for her senior year. We're going to look forward to, also seeing where she commits. It's going to be fun because she has been to a lot of high caliber Division I Power 5 camps. So we might be seeing, a Power 5 commitment.
You very well could. And honestly, this Fitch volleyball team better look out for it. Actually, I want to correct. I think Roby is a junior. So correction on that. She actually has 2 more years of eligibility. So
I was right though. She's number 7, right?
I believe so. Yep. And yeah, she is number 7. And you talk about Jocelyn. It's impressive in what she had. 405 kills last year, and 405 kills last year.
What's incredible about that, 405 kills, and she wasn't the brunt of their, she wasn't the only person they set.
On a 42.2% kill percentage.
That's that. What's her hitting percentage? Do you know? What was her hitting percentage?
Her hitting percentage is .288.
That's really good for an individual. For those of you that don't know, hitting percentage is total attacks minus error, total attacks. Okay, so kills and errors are total attacks, and then it's total attacks under kills minus errors. So if she had, for example, if she had 100 kills and let's say 33 errors or 32 errors, it would be total attacks would be 132. You would put that over what's 100 minus 32, 68. So it'd be 68 over 132 would be your hitting percentage. That's how you calculate hitting percentage. It tells you how efficient a hitter is at getting kills when they swing.
And honestly, you look at those numbers too, at 5.3 kills a set. That's huge. You're serving 20% of a set win every set you play in the 4 sets too, obviously. That's incredible.
Yeah, and by the way, the numbers I put would be at a ridiculous hitting percentage because that would be a 470 hitting percentage, which is just like you would be going wherever you want.
Yeah.
If you were hitting at that clip.
No, she's definitely one of the talented athletes here in the area too. We're excited to see where she's going to be going to continue her career.
288 is really good for an individual. It's slightly above average for a team. Like if a team is hitting 288, that's like, it's above average. It's not like phenomenal. It's right there. But for an individual to hit 288, it's like, yeah, let's go.
And with a senior season where she could kind of put it all together and still has a chance to up that percentage, which she's always working in the gyms for, it's going to be interesting to see how she puts it all together for her senior year.
If she can get a hitting percentage in the 300s against her schedule, that'd be impressive.
Absolutely. Absolutely with that schedule.
That's what, over 405 kills, you said?
405 was the total. Yep.
So, I mean, kills minus errors over hit. I mean, she had to take a lot of swings, basically, is the point. I bet total attacks are probably in the 600s.
And I mean, just like the other numbers, 220 digs as well. Like that's still like big.
That's that's the biggest surprise for me last year, because the year before they had her as a middle blocker, really didn't play her too much in the back row. So when they moved her to the outside, my big question, and because my question was this, because I didn't really get to see her in practice, so I had no idea. Was she going to be someone that could play full rotation or play in the back row when she needed to as an outside hitter? Yeah, she definitely can. Yeah.
She's got that on lock for sure. She's got it down. It's second nature to her, honestly. It seems like she's able to just adjust to whatever she needs to.
She's one of the premier volleyball players, and she'll probably be vying for that YSN Player of the Year. Last year went to Abby Householder, and she absolutely earned it last year. She had the best numbers in the area. Abby Householder was unreal last season, so she earned that. But now maybe it's Jocelyn Jordan's turn to kind of square up and try to take that mantle. Other players are in line for that too.
Absolutely. There was a few players that were in the conversation for. Jocelyn was one of them for last year. Obviously, Abby Householder, like you said, took home the MVP award, but still definitely one of the players in the conversation. She could have a great year again this year, and if she puts up similar numbers, she might be in the talks again for it this year.
Abby is going to be starting her career at YSU this season, so we wish her the best of luck as the Penguins venture into another volleyball season as well.
Once we get into our volleyball previews too, it'll be interesting to talk with Coach Bartlett, because the biggest question with Fitch is who's going to be the setter.
Yep, because that's one of the things they lost.
Yeah, I mean, both Sammy Missick and Aaron Burke, and Burke was your main one, but Missick was kind of your go-to setter too, and your kind of your secondary setter, and both were very good at the job as well. You're losing that going into.
I don't think anyone in the program undervalued Leskovac, but if you're outside of the program and you think that they're not gonna, that's a big loss, because not only was she a great attacker, she was a great server,
everything,
aces like crazy, and she played really good defense in the back row. So a full rotation player that also swung really well, that's gonna be a big miss.
She had 72 aces last year. That led the team. So she's
was it a record? Was it the season ace record, or was it the game ace record?
Yeah, I believe she had a season and I think most aces in a game as well. So I mean, absolutely great server. She was number one in your rotation for a reason, because she was able to get the job done. But you also just looked at her other stats too, and I mean, like you said, she's able to do everything from kills to assists to digs. She's one of those do it all type players, and those type players that
Even got some blocks every now and then. Some big blocks.
She was able to do it all on the court. And I mean, to get actual numbers, 211 kills on that, 72 aces. Her total blocks, she had 6 total blocks on the season. Digging wise, she had 246. So doing it all, honestly, on the court as far as digs, kills, aces, she was good at doing it all. They're going to be missing that this year. Coach Bartlett knows how to put pieces in place to find success, but those are definitely
Let's be honest. Last year coming into the season, setting was a question. Like we didn't know how good the setting was going to be because they lost Emma Bartlett, and she was one of the best setters 2 years ago. So, they answered that call. They're going to answer the call this time too.
Yeah, Aaron Burke stepped up. If you're Coach Bartlett, if you have the freedom to do so, you figure Coach Bartlett would love to put like a junior in that position so that way she can guarantee 2 years of a setter. Because, I mean, you went from Bartlett, who was a senior, and then you went right into Burke, who was already a senior. So you haven't been able to kind of keep that setter in place for that 2 years, which is pretty long in the volleyball realm. And that
would, of course, be the perfect world. Hey, do I have a junior that's a really good setter? Yeah, right here. Okay.
But it'll be interesting to see if you're going to give your juniors some time, too, to kind of get familiar with these offenses.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to see some of the other schools and how they replace people too, because there are some really good, talented volleyball players that have moved on that programs are gonna have to find a way to live life without.
One that hasn't moved on, Presley Stokes.
Oh well, no,
Wellsville. I think they're gonna be all right with. That's another one I'm excited for. You want to talk about a player?
Wellsville's gonna be okay.
A player that might be in MVP conversations. That might be
that might be one. It might be. Like, she's gonna be in there. I think Lauren Palone's gonna be right in there too from Girard. I think
absolutely.
And then I think sleeper is Tara Lytle from Lakeview.
I like it. I think there's definitely some surprises in store this season.
Those are my kind of the players that I'm thinking are way too early MVP candidates.
We're excited to see if there's anyone that comes up and surprises us.
We kind of lost time on this conversation. We got to kind of kick the boat and push it over to the Casual Sports Podcast. It'll come up next from 2 to 3, Power Hour from 3 to 4, as always. And there is NABF baseball on the network all day, including right now. It'll be on all night as well. So head over to ysnlive.com/live to check out some baseball while you check out our shows coming up next on YSN. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to take a 22-hour break.